Midnight Charlie Man, Patrick here. I've just been completely distracted by a news report that my partner Michelle was showing me and getting my mind back to this now. So I was intending to keep listening to Aussie Patient Number 9, and I was intending to do that. I was going to get better at my drawing, but I have this whole Superman Returns thing on my mind now. It's the 29th of the 4th, 2023. It's 9:36 p.m. And let me do this. Ooh, see? It's a very good album. Now you'll get what I mean if you watch my previous video. Okay, Superman Returns, and Superman Returns. Now, okay, so that all got started. But I decided I was going to talk about this now since it was on my mind. Now, all this got started earlier this morning. Sea of Tranquility, a channel that I occasionally tune into, and I'm talking about movies that annoyed them, pissed them off, and Superman Returns got brought up. And now, Superman Returns, not the best movie, but it has a lot of meaning to me, a great deal of meaning, because I was an extra as part of the Daily Planet Okay, what happened was, when did I even start? It was 2005. Filming was in about April to the August, I think. Early 2005. I was at a pub one day, hanging out with a friend, hanging out with this cool chick that I used to hang out with her, crowded pub. I get a phone call from my agent, and I could barely hear her over the noise in the pub. And what happened was, she said to me, "Superman Returns." I thought she said Superman. She said Superman Returns. I made that part out, and then I thought she said 3 days work. And she said, "Can't say no." I'm like, "Did you say 3 days on Superman?" I had no idea Superman was happening. I'd been a fan of the Christopher Reeve one, right? And then she said, okay, so, and she said no, 30 days work. She said, "You have to give me an answer now," and the answer is yes. I say yes. I said yes. Okay, great, bye. Because she said, "I went to a lot of trouble to get this for all of you. You're all in, and I went to a lot of trouble for it, and you're in. Yes, great, bye. See it. Talk to you soon." So what happened was, look, it was something from May. We worked during winter, because I remember getting up at 4 o'clock every morning, 4 a.m. every morning, to get to the set at about 6. Very early start to set, 12-hour days, and so the movie itself, I've seen it about twice. It was okay. I was just looking for myself in the movie, and I was obviously I was stoked. I don't really use that word. It was absolutely fantastic to be a part of it. And so when I hear Superman Returns, like when I hear it said, it's like it means something very different to me and special. And I'm like, oh yes, I remember that. So the thing is, look, I did make this as a comment, but comments can be so one-dimensional. Where do I start? Okay, we're going to start with here, because there was a lot involved, a great deal. Geez, alright, so, I'm just trying to get my thought. I'm not stuck for words. There's like maybe 5 things that I could talk about at once. Brandon Routh, good guy. He was polite, a little reserved, and some of the cinematographers, and the DP, or the director of photography, had to push him somewhat to get that Superman energy from him, because he wasn't a passive guy, and he wasn't an assertive guy. They really had to push him. And the guy who played Jimmy Olsen, he was really cool. James Marsden was actually I was in the director's found myself standing right next to Brandon Routh quite a few times, and his demeanour was yeah, good guy, polite, a bit reserved at the time, and Jimmy Olsen was very friendly. James Marsden was very friendly, and Bryan Singer kept completely to himself while on set. He never interacted. He did not interact with any of us extras whatsoever, and in fact barely interacted with his actors. The DP and the cinematographer directed. Well, as for the rest of the movie, I don't know. Maybe Bryan Singer had a lot. Maybe Bryan Singer had a lot more involvement with it because it was just all of us extras as part of the day plan, obviously, and the main guys. Bryan Singer had never had anything to do with us, never came over to us once, never spoke to us once. However, the crew were fantastic with us. The DP, the directors of photography, the lighting people, very friendly, really friendly people, really fantastic with us. They come over and say hello regularly. They say, hey guys, everything's going great, you're doing really well, everything looks great. They interacted with us all the time. They had conversations with us. Never once, ever once did Bryan Singer come over to us. He was in his corner. He'd say demands. He'd do things like you'd hear him say, I want this shot, I want this set up. Talked very technically. Sounded like he didn't want to be there. Bryan Singer, if I can say this from a neutral point of view, just maybe a director with a big blockbuster on his hands and just trying to get the job done. And everyone else on the set, crew-wise, was friendly, and it was fun and exciting to go to work. I didn't really even call it work. It wasn't work to me. It was just incredible, and an adrenaline rush to go on the set every day. Oh, and the first day that we ever went on set. By the way, I have talked about this before. I've talked about this before, but I don't know if I uploaded it. And I did it down in the garage, maybe about a year ago, but I don't think I ever uploaded that video for some reason. So I have spoken about this before, and because today I was watching Sea of Tranquility, and because I found the footage of Superman, I found the footage that I'm in of Superman Returns, and it all came, I remembered it all, and I just thought, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to talk about this tonight, even though I was going to start doing a bit of drawing. The first day on set, about maybe 200 extras in a tent on a lot of I'm trying to think of the studio name. Fox Studios, Ballpark, Warner Brothers. I should look that up just to verify. Fox Studios. Of course, yes. Glad I remember that, Pat. Okay. And so what happened was, right, so there was about 200 of us extras, and people getting a clique, groups formed, friendships and that, and they said to us, right, now you're about to go on set, there's wires and cables, everything all over the floor, just be careful of them all, and just try to be quiet. Telling 200 extras to try to be quiet, oh, that's another thing in itself. So we get up to the studio floor, and we walk in, and there is cables everywhere on the floor. As far as I can see, cables, crew, lots of crew. Was it uncomfortable? No. It was actually an electrifying atmosphere. And I got assigned to a particular desk, and we all got assigned to different places. It was incredibly exciting. And at some point, as I said, at no point did Bryan Singer approach any of us whatsoever. Yet the DP and the second assistant director were excellent to us, absolutely fantastic to us in every way. And I found myself to be near Brandon Routh. We didn't really approach them, well, like between takes or anything, because you just kind of want to leave them alone. And we didn't get told not to approach them. Wasn't that kind of set, but we just didn't really approach them. Jimmy Olsen was very friendly to people. The guy who played Jimmy Olsen, very friendly. James Marsden was very friendly. Puck Posey, a bit standoffish. And while I'm getting to Kevin Spacey, I'll get to that. And the a big Hollywood producer guy, he'd come over and say, "How's it going? How's it going? How's everything?" He's like, "How's everything going over here?" And you're doing well. And he said, "Hope you guys are doing okay." And he said, actually there was a problem. Not a problem. Okay, so what happens, I was going to talk about reactions, so I was remembering all this. When you're on the set, when you're an extra, and you're in a group of extras, and they want you to do a big reaction, they really do want you to do a big reaction. And so on the set of Daily Planet, they want, it was about a day in, maybe 2 days into shooting, and they needed us to do a very big reaction to something. And so what tends to happen is when you just form into groups naturally. People get conversing, and then groups get formed. And sometimes, if you're within a group of people, sometimes, and this is the thing, sometimes people get shy within that group, like, because you are there to like act and to perform, because you're an extra. But when you get involved with a group of people, some people get shy within that group, and they don't want you to be shy. They don't want you to be shy. And so when it came time to give certain reactions on the set, and let me make sure I'm recording now. And so they did a take, and we reacted. And the second AD, he comes over, he says, guys, we really need you to react. Like, that wasn't great. You got to do it again. And so, and he says, everyone, we just want you to like react. And so I did a second take, and the second AD comes over, he's like, guys, we want more. Third take, like on the fourth take, the second AD came over, he said, guys, like, just give it your all, just like really react, like really react. And so what happened, I think it was about the fifth take, we overacted it. He said, just do it. And so on the fifth take, we just let it all out. We just like as if we were embarrassing ourselves. We all overreacted. And after that, the second AD came over. He said, "Guys, it's perfect. It's exactly what we wanted. Perfect." And we did a few more takes of that, and we just totally overacted it all, like overreacted. And he kept coming over saying, "Guys, perfect. Yes, that's what we want. Keep doing that." So when you're on the set as an extra in the background, and the second AD, because the second AD is in charge of all the extras, I think occasionally a good director will come over to the extras and talk, but Brian Singer did not. And so the second AD, and sometimes the DP would come over. The second AD came over, and the second AD, if the second AD comes over and says, "We want a reaction, like we want you to react, overdo it, react, because if you don't, they'll let you know. And usually, if you don't be shy about it. Don't be shy about it, because I tell you why. You've got to okay, I was going to say you've got to live with it, but it won't get to that point. You're there to perform, and sometimes when, as I said, when people get in groups, cliques of people, they get shy within that. No time to be shy. And if they're not happy with your reaction, they're going to tell you. But if they want you to react to something, react to it. It's your time to embarrass yourself. Give them a reaction. Do the reaction. Give them a reaction. Overact to it, because they'll keep pulling you up on it and pushing you toward that. they'll keep saying more, do it more, do it more. They won't get angry about it. The second AD will just be like, guys, I need you to really react to this. And they'll just keep going until you do it. They'll just keep going. And so I think it took us a little bit to warm up to that. And so that was one thing. And also, if there's a particular action that you're doing during a scene, they want you to keep continuity. So you're going to do that reaction. Some directors do 2 takes. Some do 30. All depends. And I got up at 4 a.m. to get to the set at 6 a.m. Sometimes it would be a 12-hour set. Always exciting. And that Frank guy, let me look up his name. It was really incredible. It was just so good to be on that set. And people say, yeah, Superman Returns was a really crappy movie. It wasn't very good. Yeah, I agree with that. But to me, it means something totally different. It means something totally different. Anyway, Frank Langella. I spoke to him, talked to him, because for some reason I was just wandered over there after a take. I just spoke to him. It was funny because he said, where the hell's the director on this set? Because Singer was either in the corner being technical or disappeared somewhere. And Frank Langella, friendly guy, good guy. He was very nice to us, veteran guy. And he was like, where the hell is the director on this set? Does anyone know where he is? And he yelled out, director! Yeah, because Singer... Oh, I'm getting to Spacey. I'm getting to him. What else was there? I was never really up close to Park Posey. Well, I'll tell you something that happened. Look, there's a very big complication with things. I suppose I should get over because I'm getting on with my own projects now, and I had a lot of years where I stinted myself. Something happened. I was really naive about it. I was at the drawing. I was at my drafting board. We're doing a take, and I was just like at the drafting board, and the AD comes running over afterwards. He comes to me and he says, mate, I've got a problem. And I'm like, oh man, I haven't done anything. I said, oh, I haven't done anything wrong. I said, look, I'm just doing what you asked during the take. He said, no. He said, it's not that. He said, there's a different problem. I'm like, and a couple of mates were like, oh, here we go. And the second AD, he said, I don't know how to say this. I'm like, what's he getting at? He said, it turns out that you've got a very strong screen presence, stronger than Brandon Routh. And I'm like, and everyone, they all laughed and chuckled in good humour. And I'm like, oh, I do. He's like, you have a very strong screen presence. And he said, I hope you get a lot of work. He said, the producers can't have you in shot. I'm like, oh, he said, can you lean into the drafting board? Like lean into it? I'm like, okay. I was 30 at the time. I was 32 at the time, I think. 31. And he said, can you do that? And I said, okay. And so they did the take, and I leaned in, and after they said cut, he ran back, and he said, can you do it more? So I ended up leaned into, there's a shot, it's in there somewhere. If you see it, me in there, long here to here, and I'm on a weird angle, that's because the producers wanted, I ended up, the second AD, he said, I ended up like this. He said, can you just do this? He said, I'm going to ask you to do this. He'll just have to. And so I ended up like this. against the board, face down, and the guy who was an extra with me, he's like, "Tell them to bloody fuck off." He said, "If they think you're so, they think you're so special, put you in a scene, give you some lines, mate, give you some lines." I said, "Fuck 'em," and I'm like, "Oh, he wants me to do this." He's like, and my extra friend said, "Tell him to fuck off. Tell him to give you a line." And this guy was older than me. He was in his 60s. Like, "Hey, you," and I'm like, "Oh, I want to cooperate." He's like, he said, "I know what I'd be telling him." And he actually said something to me. He's like, "This is what they want." He said, "You should be giving him a line." And so what happened was there was a few takes done. I felt ridiculous. I was up against the board like this, and the AD comes back. He says, "Perfect, perfect." He said, "Perfect, great." He said, "I'm sorry about this, man." He said, I'm sorry, but you're very strong on screen, and you're outdoing Brandon Routh. That's without even talking." And the thing was, at the time, I was a bit naive about that, and I mentioned it to, I think I mentioned it to someone at the time, very casually in humour, a little bit immature about things back then, a bit naive, and I told the story, and they said, "Oh, and they said, did they give you a few lines, did they give you something?" Because I said, they said, "They should have pulled you aside and said, hey mate, are you interested in something? Are you interested in doing something further? Like, you give you a bit of a part, give you a few lines, get you going with something." And I'm like, well, they didn't say anything like that to me. They said, "You just got to hide in the shot." And they were like, "What the fuck?" And everyone who told the story to a few people, they all said they should do something for you. That's not right. Can sort of understand in that shot that they said, "No, we don't understand. We don't understand." They hid you in the shot. They said, "That's not right." And then I told her, a couple of friends I said this to, and they said, "Bloody get something." They make sure they do something for you. Make sure that they should be doing something for you right now. Honestly, they should be doing something for you right now. They should be getting you going in something. And I wasn't aggressive about it at the time, and I let it go. And cause I didn't comprehend the full meaning and situation of that until afterwards, after it was done. But the people around me said, "Fuck, if you give you something more." So it was bittersweet, and apart from that, there's a couple of other things that happened. Logan's Run, that's right, it was Logan's Run made in Sydney. There was a situation with one of the girls on set. One girl had the semi running with her or something. I don't know, did something to offend her or something. Well, unlike me to offend anyone. Let me see how long I'm running for here. Glasses on, because I know this will run out soon. Oh, I've been going for 24 minutes. I'm going to wrap this up in 2 minutes because the camera's going to run out at 30 minutes. I thought I'd been talking for 10 minutes. At the end of filming, I know what I did to offend them. At the end of filming, there was one of the guys with us who was an extra. He was having this conversation, like private conversation, one of the producer people or something. She said, "Okay, see you next month. We're going to see you soon, Logan's Run, alright? See you then." And I'm like, "Hey, what about me? What about me? What about seeing me soon?" And I'm like, really annoyed about that. I'm like, "What about me?" And then obviously organised for him to. Logan's Run was met. There was a version of Logan's Run. I only just remembered it. Every time I was think of it. So look, there's a whole bittersweet thing going on with all this. Okay, what I did. I'm going to actually make a short film about this. It was the end of the set one day, and everyone was. There were sandwiches and all that, and we were getting signed off. And I got signed off, and then I went and grabbed something to eat. And what I did was it was a long day. I picked up one of the sandwiches and I started eating it right in front of one of the girls. I was just like, wow, wow. She's like, don't you eat in front of me. That's spiteful. Don't you dare eat in front of me. I've been here for hours and hours now. How dare you put that away? And I'm like, and I've always remembered that. Yeah, I was in the wrong a bit. I'm actually making a short film out of it. Just because my humour's a bit, I'm going to make a short film out of it. And she was really annoyed at me. She was like, don't you dare eat in front of me like that. And I was like, so, take the time, because I'm going to have to, okay. I'm getting to Kevin Spacey. I'm getting to that soon. It'll be a bit underwhelming when I tell you though. I'll wrap it up. I'll wrap this up, upload it, and then do this again because I'm at 26 minutes and I just, it's gonna, anyway. So now I proceed to film part 2, and it's 10:10 p.m. Being on the Superman Returns big blockbuster movie, not my kind of movie at all, but being a part of it, being a part of the experience was incredible. And I see in some of the YouTube comments when I've looked it up time and time, they say, oh yeah, this is a great Superman film. Not really, no. But I was a part of it, and I had an incredible experience on it. So for me, it was very different, very, very different. And there's people that say, "Oh, it was really shit. It wasn't good." I've seen it twice. I was looking for myself in it. It was. I was looking for myself in it, and the other people that I was working with, and so I had a different perspective on it. What I was going to say was, okay, Kevin Spacey. Yes, Kevin Spacey. Okay, Kevin Spacey. So Kevin Spacey, and they got the studio, but then outside in the lot you've got a huge grass area and a big tent set up for us extras, and we used to convene there. And there was one day, it was the middle of the day, must have been about 1 p.m. or something, and we were just gathered around, lingering around between being inside and the set. So about 6 of my extra, because everyone was in their groups of friends by this point, and I was in my group of friends, about 6 of us, and good people by the way too. Miss them. I digress too much. And so, and then someone says, Kevin Spacey. And I'm like, what? I'm like, Kevin Spacey's just over there. I went, whoa. I'm like, I froze. I just froze. I froze. I'm like, I just froze completely. He's about 6'2", maybe 6'3". It's from a distance about 20 feet away, and at this point, the usual suspects had been out years before that. Hand me the keys, you cocksucker motherfucker. Hand me the keys, you fucking cocksucker motherfucker. How do you say it? Hand me the keys, you fucking cocksucker motherfucker. Alec William Baldwin does that. Anyway. Yes, yes. Light me, Johnny. Oh, wrong movie, Mad Max. Light me, Johnny. Hand me the keys, you fucking cocksucker motherfucker. Yeah, yeah. So, I'm just like, I got transfixed completely, utterly. He had the edge about him, had the edge, had this slight oldness about him, not like an old man, like an old New Yorker, like an elegant old New Yorker. He had a gentleman's hat on at the time, long coat. He looked a bit flustered, or a bit just. I found out later. I found out that he was having a bad reaction to the Australian heat, the Australian sun. Even though it was winter, he was just having a bad reaction, and he just come off a 12-hour flight from LA, I think he'd gone from New York to Los Angeles to Sydney, and he was a bit flustered. He was a bit like, and he was had this energy about him, and I was looking at him, I was trying to stare at him, I was looking away, and I was looking at him, and I was I'm trying, and everything else disappeared. I'm like, give us anything, and all I hear is a voice saying, Pat, get out of the way, get out of the way. I'm like, huh, what? And my extra friend is like, Pat, get out of the way. And he grabbed my shoulder and he yanked me. I'm like, Brian Singer with 3 other people, I don't know who they were, bulldozed past me. The second my extra friend yanked me out of the way, Brian Singer would have knocked me flying. He walked aggressively straight over to Kevin Spacey and bear hugged him for about a good 25 seconds or so. Gave me a huge hug. And Spacey was like, yeah, I'm here, I'm on your set, yeah. And Brian Singer was like, you've saved my day, you've saved this whole set, you're going to save this movie. And I'm like, and then the next thing, one of the crew said, alright, everyone's dismissed, lunchtime. We'll go into the big tent thing for lunch. Everyone's stuffing their face, everyone's eating, and I'm at the table with my other friends, and I'm like, I'm overwhelmed. I'm almost near tears. I'm overwhelmed. And like, Pat, you okay? And one of them says, I know what it is. And I'm like, says Kevin Spacey. I'm like, it's Kevin Spacey. He's like, I understand. Phil knew who Kevin Spacey was. And they said, I get it. They said, I get it, I understand. They said, yeah, I understand. And I'm just like, I couldn't eat. And then they said, Pat, try and get some food into you because we've got the rest of the afternoon to go. Just like, get something in the stomach because we're going to have stamina for the rest of the afternoon. You should try to eat. And the reason why I'm saying all of this is because I did make a comment on that video, movies that we walked out because we were pissed off about them, and comments can come across really one-dimensional. Oh yeah, and so I said I had a better, a stronger screen presence than Brandon Routh. Of course I do. Yeah, of course I do. Of course I do. Still do. Um, um, I ate. I did eat. I ate my lunch. And for the rest of the afternoon, never saw him on set. Never saw Kevin Spacey on set. Didn't see him on set. But I can imagine that Bryan Singer did interact with Kevin Spacey a good deal. In fact, actually, because there was a guy, one of the crew used to open the door for us, and he was friendly. And I used to always say hi to him. And he'd always say hi to me. And then, when I was out in the, because I've spent years and years and years on the scene in Newtown, and he was at the pub one night, and I bumped into him. He's like, hey mate, how you going? I said, you still work? He's like, oh mate, I work all the time. And he said, I don't get out of bed for less than $5,000. And I said to him, Kevin Spacey. He said, oh yeah. I said, what was he like? He's like, yeah, he's okay. He's okay. Bit sleazy. He's okay. Because I said, Kevin Spacey's really good. He said, yeah, he's okay. He's okay. And yeah, so that's the Kevin Spacey part. There's no way I was going to get anywhere near him on set. And a friend of mine, for a friend, said, Kevin Spacey, he said, you know what you're going to do? This guy's older than me. He said, you know what you're going to do? Go up and harass him. Say, hey, Kevin, I'm Patrick. Get me next to you. Get me saying a few lines next to you. I want to say a few lines next to you. Kevin, come on. I was like, I can't do it. He's like, do it. Go on the set. Harass him. I want to be in this scene. I didn't do that, of course, but so 60 days. I think it was turned to 90 days. Exhausted. really exhausted after that shoot. Was in a lot of scenes, but in the final cut, 7 seconds in the final cut, and I was sick for 2 weeks afterwards. It was really exhausting on me, and I was actually I got sick for 2 weeks. I got the flu afterwards. After that concluded, I was sick for 2 weeks, just from pure exhaustion. And oh yeah, I went around telling everyone about it. There was a bit of attitude and ego about it at the time, and impressed her. All I do was mention it on the street at the time, because hang out very much a lot in Newtown at that time, and I'd mention it and I'd say, "Are you part? Oh, were you part of that?" I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah," and they're like, and a bit of a big deal at the time, and an extra big deal when I realised I had 7 seconds, 7 seconds of screen time, and so that's my adventures on Superman Returns in 2005 as part of the Daily Planet. And I just thought, you know what, since I've seen that video today, and since I saw that video today, and I thought I'll talk about it, because I was going to draw and listen to Ozzy Osbourne, Patient Number 9, and I'm still going to do that, but I just thought I'd get all that down, and put it in. It looked a little bit bittersweet. I wasn't. I should have been much more aggressive than I was, because I had an agent my agent at the time, Mary, she didn't push me to do mains. Like, we had to approach her for it. Like, yeah, I wasn't getting past extra work, and I was getting a bit over it. But like, look, in my mind, in 2008, I'd done enough extra work. I'd just done enough of it. And I was ready to be the main thing. I was ready to be the star. I was ready to be directly in front of the camera. My agent wasn't pushing. Everyone else around me was like, "Pat, you got to do the main work now. You got to do the main work. Like, you've done like this. Like, you can move on from being an extra now." But my agent wasn't pushing it to me, and I just it was a weird thing that happened. It was just that it was just a weird thing that happened. I stopped getting as much work. That's not what happened. I didn't have enough money to renew my photos. I needed to renew my photos, and she said, "Look, I'll let you go on it for a while." She's letting me go on it for a while, but also on a couple of the last extra gigs I ever had, I turned up drunk, because I developed an attitude. I was a bit over it. I didn't care. I was a little bit of bad behaviour. Turned up a bit drunk and a bit rebellious, and didn't care anymore. And then it became 2009. I pretty much stopped getting extra work, but I didn't care at the time, because I was like, I'm going to do my own thing now. I'll just do my own thing. Like, I'll get my own stuff going. I got a bit stinted. Not going to go into it. But now I'm working on my feature script. I'm going to get my short films going. And working on my feature script, I play the main character. I play the main character in all my short films. I'll be my own star. I'll be my own star. Yeah. So I'll be my own movie star. And so I actually went to film school. I went to film school in 2014. And I got coerced into that. But yeah, I've contemplated doing extra work again, but is it worth my while? Anyway, I'll put this video up, and I just wanted to relate the Superman Returns experience to you. So, yeah, I just wanted to relate that to you. Yeah, I'm going to do some drawing. I think I'm going to put my drawing up. I'll show you my drawing. I've been working on this It's upside down. Working on this one. Working on this one. It's for a specific purpose. So I'm going to get back to that. I'm going to listen to the Aussie album while I do that. I just thought, you know what? I thought I will relate this experience. I thought I'm going to relate this experience. I'm going to relate this experience tonight. Let's put it on camera. So there you go. There it is. My experience on Superman Returns. Okay. Terrific. Very good. I want to relate something very important to you. And this happened on the set. If you're on the set of a movie, of a big movie, and you work 12-hour days, and you come to the point where you feel a bit blasé about being a part of every shot, don't. Because on the set of Superman Returns, it eventually got to the point where, because we're on the set all the time in filming, all the time, sometimes the assistant director would come out and say, I need 2 people on side now, just to be in a shot. Do it. Even if you feel like you don't want to do it. Because when the movie gets released at cinema, maybe you might be in that shot. And even if you're tired, it's just like you've been on set all day, and you're tired and you're exhausted, and you're just chilling out with the friends that you've made. And the second assistant director comes out and says, hey, just need 2 people for the shot, do it. Don't worry about how tired you are, just do it. Because at the end of the day, when that movie comes out, maybe you're in that shot. You might be in that shot. You might be in it. You just might be in it. Because there's a couple of times where I was just too tired to move, and just like, I didn't volunteer, and 2 other people would go, and it had been a long day. Even if it's a long day, just say yes, just jump up, do it, volunteer, say yeah, I'll do it. Because you might get in the movie, you might get a second. You might get a second. Okay, alright. I'll put this in at the very end, I'll slice this in at the very end. Okay, thank you for watching.